So in this video, we will look at some key data revealing the truth. In the 70s, earning $66,400 was the median to be considered as middle class. Well, this number not only rose to $106,100 as of 2022, what's even more shocking is that you don't even have a comparable purchasing power. Look at the CPI inflation calculator I found on the website of the US Bureau of Labor Statistics. I will also put the link in the description box down below so you can check it for yourself. But for now, let's take a look together on the purchasing power of someone being middle class in the 70s. So therefore, we first select January 1970 over here, and let's try to calculate what it means as of August 2025. The result is shocking, $569,100. And basically what this means as of today is that you at least need $500,000 to be considered as middle class compared to someone living in the 70s. What this basically shows is that although a lot is talked about how the middle class got destroyed in the last years, there's really no middle class left in the traditional sense. Because being middle class was once referred to people having the means to rival nobles. The current meaning of that word is nothing more than just considered as the upper end of a working class. And one of the main reasons for that is that the growth in income for the middle class hasn't been able to keep up with the upper class. So whilst the middle class saw growth from $66,400 as of 1970, and it rose to $106,100 as of 2022, which results roughly at a 60% growth rate. Compared to the upper class in the same time period, we saw a growth from $144,100 to $256,900 as of 2022. And this is equivalent to 78% of income growth. And now you see the difference in income, right? And what will even shock you more is that the upper class don't even rely on income most of the times. Because most of the people who are considered as upper class own their own companies. I will try to explain to you in a few sentences why owning a company feels like a cheat code. So let's say I own a company that's in the cleaning service and I make some revenue. And after subtracting all of my costs, I have my profit, right? If I would have now decided to take out the profit, it would become taxable income. So that's not something I would do. Instead, I would decide to start a second company, let's say in real estate. The main goal of that company is to buy real estate and rent it out to tenants. And now my first company from the cleaning business gives out a loan to my second company in the real estate sector. And with that loan, the second company goes and buys some properties. In return, the real estate company pays back the loan to the first company on a monthly basis. That way it's not considered taxable income anymore, it's considered as the payback of a loan. That is one simple instrument people from the upper class use to avoid paying tax. Now I want you to put this information into perspective. Because what this basically means is that the upper class do not only have much more resources in terms of income, plus they have other income streams laying in the shadows of legal entities. Only their knowledge about law and tax enables them to do something like this. Let's be real here for a minute. This enables them to do much more with their money in times of financial crisis. So for example, every time a hardworking family struggles with the down payment of their home due to the rising interest rates in the market, the upper class spots these opportunities and buys their home. And at the end of the day, they are pushing away thousands of people from their own houses and destroying their dreams of finally becoming a homeowner after 35 years of hard work, to accept their fate and staying a tenant for the rest of their lives. This is not a rumor anymore, as the most recent data shows that in the UK alone, that the demand from renters is 43% higher than the last 5-year average. The pros for renting are much stronger at the moment than ever before. Because as a tenant you don't have to worry about maintenance costs, getting tied for a loan for the rest of your life, and all the other negative consequences that come with sticking to one physical location for the rest of your life. And let's not even talk about the negative equity trap, as well as a high sensitivity towards regulatory and market changes. And all in all, when looked at the whole situation at once, you'll see that renting is actually much cheaper than buying. This accounts to almost all 50 of the large metros in the US. But not only the cost of living is a challenge, it's also the rising cost of health, education and lifestyle. And at the end of the day, the challenge the middle class faces is far more than just an income problem, it's a debt problem. Just in the UK alone, debt as a proportion of the household income rose from 85% in 1996 to 118% as of 2024. And this means that all households together in the UK owe more than their income. Now, some of you who is not in debt will say, well, don't take a loan out then, I guess. To be honest, it's not that easy, and I've been there as well. I've studied all of my life to become a Master of Science in Business Engineering. And at the moment I'm 33 years of age, I needed to marry. I needed a nice car. And I still need to build and invest towards my future, whether it's investing in real estate or starting my own business. And these things are only possible with loans. And that problem that rises through this situation, I call the credit illusion. Because this illusion at the end of the day gives me at least the feel to be consider myself as middle class. Because I've put in all the work I was asked for. But in reality, hard work doesn't even matter. It only matters how much you make in your 9 to 5, how much you make in your business. Because let's face the truth, you can work in the harshest conditions in a cobalt mine in Africa, but your income will be way too low to call your life somewhat of a living. And the sad reality is that once sold as the dream to becoming a homeowner becomes a heavy burden for many people. For example, a close friend of mine bought his home 5 years ago. But when he heard rumors that his company will go possibly bankrupt, his health dropped from peak to literally zero. And in that moment I did understand that I never wanted to buy a home unless I had the money to call it totally mine. A famous German investor and self-made millionaire says, "If I don't have the cash to build the same home twice, if the first one got destroyed for whatever reasons, then I'm not building that house at all." On the one hand, this sounds very logical, but on the other hand, we have to face the reality that with a 9 to 5 job, we will never be in that situation. We will never be able to pay for the same home twice. And unfortunately, what underlines this is every third American has a side gig, which brings an additional $530 a month. Maybe you also remember some years back, when having a corporate 9 to 5 job was considered as stability and was attractive due to the high income, but also due to advancements in technology like big data or AI. 41% of the companies worldwide are planning to reduce their workforce by 2030, putting the middle class we talked about, which is already in a bad spot, in an even worse spot. That's why instead of side gigs, 450,000 new business applications were filed as of March 2025. More than half of the applicants are full-time workers who dream to turn their hobby into a real business. As you can see, people are trying to get every extra dime by taking on side hustles, by taking on gigs, just to be able to cope with the rising costs. From my point of view, this is only a drop of water on a hot stone. The market is about to reset itself soon. What do you think about this whole situation? Do you even care? Let me know in the comment section down below. As always, thanks for listening, thanks for watching, see you in the next one. Bye.